Turk of the Year, there's 4 people that are runner-ups and then a winner, and we do this every year. So let me give you the different candidates that we considered that we thought were great. The Women's March organizers. It was an amazing march for all the people who showed up. It was fantastic, particularly the women who organized it were heroic and made a big difference. It could have easily won Turk of the Year. I don't like to give it to groups. I try to make it as specific as possible. Some collection of people won in this case in this year because it was unavoidable, but not to take anything away from any of these people who all did wonderful things this year. Well, the next candidate's a little bit tragic. It's Heather Heyer, and so she was a person who was run over and killed by the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville, and the reason to put her on the list is because she had the bravery and the courage to go out there, and knowing that some of the people on the other side were vicious, knowing that they had violent tendencies, and knowing that the neo-Nazis were marching in that town, she stood up. She could have stayed at home. She could have stayed on her couch and watching TV, but no, she wanted to go out there, and she did it peacefully. And again, she is symbolic of all the people who have actually taken some action to protest the fascists in our midst. Unfortunately, she paid the ultimate price for that, and so I just wanted to recognize her courage, and it's well deserved, obviously. So, and our hearts go out to her and her family. Okay, now next on the list is Jimmy Kimmel, and of course these are not in order except for the final winner. And I want to give Jimmy Kimmel a lot of credit because if you don't know, in the entertainment world, they tell you all the time, don't be political. Whatever you do, don't offend anyone. Just be milquetoast, be safe, be vanilla, be uninteresting. Well, Jimmy Kimmel broke that rule this year, and he went out there and called out Republican senators by name during the healthcare bill. And he said, you're going to get people killed. He was absolutely right. Up to as many as 33 million people were going to lose their insurance. And Jimmy Kimmel being so vocal about it was not the only thing that swung it by any stretch of the imagination. And it wasn't the only thing that made that bill incredibly unpopular, and it was down to 17% in popularity. But it did take courage, and it did make a difference, and it caused so many others to talk about the issues that Kimmel had brought up. He did a wonderful job with it, and he then later called out Roy Moore as well. So in terms of the entertainment world, that's as much profiles and courage as you're going to get, and it was great. So belongs on the list, no doubt about it. And then one more candidate here, and that's Jeremy Corbyn for Turk of the Year. Here's a guy that all of the British punditry elites, intellectuals said, oh, I do declare that socialist has no chance at all. And they counted him out in every conceivable way. They ridiculed him and derided him throughout. And he was at about a 24-point deficit with only a month before to go before the elections, and he nearly won. He closed a gigantic deficit. About 20 points he closed within a month. And you know why? Because he put together a platform that actually represented the people. And the establishment, filled with their corruption in looking out for their friends and people in industry and multinational corporations, are not used to a populist like Jeremy Corbyn giving them a real challenge. But when he had a platform that actually wanted to represent the people in the UK, no matter how little support he had among the elites, he still did a wonderful job of pushing that forward and almost winning. And next time, watch out, because he's not going anywhere. Okay, now finally, the folks who won. Turk of the Year here is a number of women. It's of course all the women that are involved in the Me Too movement. But I want to show you 3 that we picked in particular. But again, it of course is the entire movement and everyone who was involved. But the 3 that are named here are Tarana Burke, Alyssa Milano, and Gretchen Carlson. I'll tell you why. So if you're not familiar with Burke, you should be. She actually came up with the idea of the Me Too movement all the way back in 2007. And so you might say, well, that was too early and that's not this movement. No, that's what you do. if you have an idea and you want to protect women, and she wanted to, and she's heard the stories of sexual assault and sexual harassment, and she wanted to fight back, and she started an organization to do that. You never know where those ripples wind up. But she dared to throw that pebble in the pond when it was not popular. And 10 years later, it was picked up and made a worldwide movement that, in my opinion, liberated 50% of the population. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think that this year we saw how many women were suffering sexual harassment at work and had not come forward because of the intimidation, because of the public pressure, because of the power. And now, having come forward, they have created an environment that is much harder to commit those heinous acts of sexual harassment, sexual assault. Still happens, no question about it. Still a long road to go, but they made tremendous progress. So the reason Alyssa Milano is on there, she's one of the first accusers as well in 2017, but started the Me Too movement on Twitter. Later, then went and gave credit to Burke once she realized that Burke had started it earlier. But Milano's tweet is the one I think reached 12 million people and really launched that movement. But Gretchen Carlson, who is a conservative Fox News anchor, or was, also should be mentioned here and is part of who our Turk of the Year is, because she's the first one that came forward against Roger Ailes. And that was an incredibly difficult thing to do, because Ailes had arguably more power than any conservative in the country. And if you're a conservative like Carlson, it's hard to get a job anywhere else but Fox News. And she had a job there and it paid really well. And she knew that if she came out against Ailes, there would be a world of pain and hate from her own side. And that is what happened in the beginning. But she was brave, she was strong, she fought back. And next thing you know, it started a conversation where other women came forward at Fox News and revealed what Roger Ailes had done, and then eventually Bill O'Reilly. But more important than Fox News was the movement that started, that then had Harvey Weinstein outed and so many others. And so for her role in that movement, I wanted to name her specifically as well. So a terrific collection of wonderful human beings who stood up not just for themselves, but for other women and for decency overall in the country, and made a gigantic difference. So thank you to all of them, and a well-deserved Turk of the Year. If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. tytnetwork.com/join.